back, Knuckleheads. I'm Lupine Fiasco, and this is your daily FaB gameplay. For anyone who's new to the channel, welcome. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I'll talk through turn cycles and give my thoughts on the line I would take now, compared to the line I took then at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like the ongoing ProQuest Season 5 and, most importantly, walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the list I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link available in the video description below. While they're down there, if you have not already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. A YouTube subscription is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. The best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the DFG Discord and shiny cardboard Talishar card back. At higher tiers, your name will appear in every DFG video. You'll get bonus DFG content every week. There are even more benefits coming down the pipeline. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about our sideboard and about our game plan. Azalea has seen quite the resurgence lately, picking up both the Calling and recent Battle Hardens. She's quite the force to be reckoned with. Warmonger's Diplomacy basically just doesn't exist anymore, which allows Azalea to run rampant. The most popular decks in the format don't play it. It is a miss in Kayo. Any warrior wants to be able to play non-attack actions and attack in the same turn, so they are very likely not playing Warmonger's Diplomacy. For Victor, it is a miss on clashes, and enterprising Azalea players are really taking advantage of that by going all in on builds that just lose to a single Warmongers. Because it doesn't exist, allows them to put giant 11, 14, 22 power dominated arrows together that have multiple on hits, and it is very difficult to deal with. I am still learning how to play this matchup as Kayo. I think largely it is 50-50, and it all comes down to the Azalea's draws. We can brick, certainly we can draw bad hands, we can miss our disruption, but for the most part, whether or not Azalea has red in the ledger on pivotal turns is going to decide who wins this game. And if that red in the ledger has Seek and Destroy or Lace with Inertia attached to it, that really is just devastating. Having won the die roll, we should choose to go first. I'm going to choose to go second. That used to be the mentality going into Azalea, and I think that has changed. I think the reason behind that is Azalea has such good high roll potential on turn 1 that we really don't want to let her go first. It isn't that we want to go first, it's that we don't want her to go first. If she hits that high roll, then she can throw red in the ledger, she can throw Lace with Inertia, or Seek and Destroy. She can just do 11 or 14 damage dominated that we can't block. And yeah, we get tempo back on turn 2 if we can send a bunch of cards at her face, but unless we draw or go again, we can't do that. And we have very little disruption to throw at her, so I do think that going first is correct, for if no other reason than to keep her off of an arsenal for more turns of the game. Our sideboard plan involves putting in Clash. The current sideboard plan I have on FaB is different from this. We are cutting 3 Bear Fangs and a single copy of Pack Hunt in order to add 3 Clash of Agility and a single Clash of Might. Massacre takes a little too much setup. Bare Fangs and Yellow Wild Ride don't block. We want to limit the amount of non-blocks we have in our deck. Humble is a 2-block and is not particularly impactful against Azalea. She'll use her hero power if she has the ability to do so, but it's very unlikely that her turn hinges on using Azalea. More often than not, she just won't dominate an arrow, but will still send 11 or 14 our way. We are really looking for Command and Conquer and Send Packing at pivotal moments. Cast Bones is a great 1-card play when you are under the effect of Red in the Ledger, and especially if there is inertia or Seek and Destroy tied to it. We are looking to set up a big Blood Rush Bellow if we can, but you may find yourself just needing to play them as you draw them because we are so under pressure from Lace, Seek and Destroy, Red in the Ledger, Codex of Frailty. This is a very difficult matchup. Very often you will find yourself without agency and you're just reacting to what she does. But the one thing we can do differently, at least at the start, is choose to go first as opposed to second. But having chosen to go second, let's submit deck and see how this all shakes out. The hand we draw into is okay. It can block fairly well. We have a wind-up on turn 0, and Bare Fangs is a solid return on our turn 1. We are going to block this Ravenous Rabble. We are not going to overcommit to blocking it. We are just going to put Runner in front, holding on to our wind-up to discard at the end of turn, and our blue to be able to play Bare Fangs. Taking the 1 point of damage is unfortunate, but we do want to at least have additional cards to block with as Azalea's turn continues to play out. Double Ravenous Rabble with Codex of Frailty is a little unfortunate. We are going to choose Runner to put in our arsenal. The reason being it is the only good card in our graveyard, and we are going to discard our Bare Fangs, which at least allows us to block for 2. So a bit of an annoying turn from Azalea. I wouldn't call it particularly impactful. The fact that she got to play out a 4-card hand and also keep an arsenal is unfortunate. That is the nature of Codex of Frailty, a perfectly balanced card. We are going to claw, discard, wind up to make an agility, then play out Beast Within, pushing some damage and setting up an agility to synergize with our runner is the best we can do. Azalea, very unlikely to block ever. Her deck does it very poorly, and because she has so many 0 for 3s in her deck, it is often correct for her to just do damage. She is not playing a tempo game. She is playing a full offensive value. So here we have 11 with Dominate. There is a Seek and Destroy tied to it, which is really bad for us. The best we can do with this hand is block for 3 with our Enlightened Strike. We'll take 8 on our turn. We can play Runner from Arsenal, then discard our Mighty Windup. We'll make 2 Mights and an Agility coming out of the turn cycle to try and set up for the next turn when we are hopefully not under the effect of Red in the Ledger. We could give equipment to block with this as well, but there really is no reason to. We have no 6-power attacks that we can block with to get value out of Bonebreaker. So we will just take our 8 and do the best we can. We could overpitch to play this runner by pitching a Wild Ride as well. We should do that. I don't think it particularly matters. We don't have a way to shuffle our deck, and we will not reach second cycle in this game, but it is just best practice. Really hoping that we get to play out this hand. Blood Rush, pitch Wrecker Romp, hopefully discard Command and Conquer is a solid line, but even if we don't get to play the Blood Rush, we may just want to Command and Conquer for 8 go again, use Tunic, play Swing Big, Arsenal, Blood Rush Bellow. We'll see what Azalea is going to do to us. This is going to be Codex Frailty. The pick is Red in the Ledger. So we are just going to block where we can. We are going to give Apex Bonebreaker and Swing Big. We will grab our card from discard and play that on our next turn, holding on to our Blood Rush Bellow and trying to set up. Playing out a runner at least lets us refresh our agility so that we can hopefully have a good turn with this Blood Rush Bellow. The hand we draw into is not a good Blood Rush start. Endless Arrow for 10 with Blood Rot tied to it is a total of 12. If Azalea then uses Snapdragon and Bullseye Bracers to reload the Endless Arrow, that is another 5. We're looking at taking 17 damage, which would put us to 3. Azalea is still at 26, and that lets us crack back with a subpar Blood Rush turn. I want to put my entire hand in front of this Endless Arrow, and it feels terrible, but I do think that it is the best line, that taking all of this damage now is not the way we win this game. Now, what we could do is block with Clash, Cast Bones, Wind Up, and Scab Skins, then discard a Wind Up on our turn so that we remake Agility and a Might, and potentially get our good Blood Rush on our next turn. I do think that's what we should do. I'm going to block with the entire hand. I think that's fine, but we probably should try to set up this Agility. We're really just praying for a good 5-card Blood Rush turn with Agility. It's the best we've got at this point. The hand we draw into is not good for Blood Rush. We have 3 reds. And of course we don't have Agility. Is this when we want to block with Fleshbag? That's a tough one. Regardless of what we do, Azalea is going to get to fire this arrow. What we are potentially doing by Fleshbagging here is denying either the Codex follow-up, the Snapdragon Codex, or the Snapdragon Bullseye shoot 0-cost arrow. I do like blocking with Fleshbag here, if for no other reason than I don't think we're going to get a better opportunity to do so. We also have a Send Packing, so we are going to get to threaten Azalea's arsenal. And if we make sure she has an arsenal, then our Send Packing does literal something. What we can do here is block with Runner, Bonebreaker, and Scabskin, which would give Send Packing 7 arsenal threat. We could use our tuning to pay for it. This seems a little loose to me. I would have liked to threaten Azalea's arsenal more than I would like to play out an okay Blood Rush turn. The fatigue shot here really doing a lot of work, denying 3 power from this pulping. We will get to Claw Wild Ride, keeping our tunic, so we'll be dealing some damage, but Azalea isn't going to block any of this. I would have liked to block, prevent that fatigue shot, and then threaten Send Packing for 7, and at least disrupt Azalea in some way. Do something. Send Packing on top of the deck being very late. We would have loved this Wild Ride to be a Send Packing, but it was not meant to be. We put Azalea down to 8, so doing quite a bit of damage with that Blood Rush, but her keeping the 5-card hand with Snapdragon, Tunic, and Bullseye Bracers is horrendous for us. We are really not looking forward to taking a bunch of damage here. Drill shot for 13 is a hell of a line. We are going to block with CNCs. We want to keep our send packing, as even if Azalea defends and blocks out the send packing, she will still have lost the card in her arsenal and it will return to her hand. So if nothing else, we are denying her the ability to Skullbone Cross Wrap. We hit a Premeditate. We'll see if Azalea wants to defend this send packing. Just giving us equipment. Going down to 2, putting herself into Reckless range. Of course, we don't play Reckless Swing, so very likely just dead, but we will see if we can somehow weather the storm here. If Azalea does not threaten enough damage to kill us, between our 7 health and 6 block value, 7 block value even with Scab Skins, we can hopefully get the win with Pulping. But instead we have Endless Arrow for 10. We need to block with 3 cards from hand and our Scab Skins. If we only block for 6, we take 4, we go to 3, Azalea, Snapdragon, Bullseyes, Endless Arrow goes back to hand, then to arsenal, then to our face. So we are going to block for 10 and just pray that that's enough to at least end Azalea's turn, but she does have Rain Razors, so taking 2 damage from the Endless Arrow here, and then another 7 from the Endless Arrow after the Bullseye Bracers play. And that is going to be the game. Azalea is a terrifying deck, and honestly one that really needs to be reined in by Warmonger's Diplomacy. For as much hate as that card gets for being just such a silver bullet against very specific heroes, we can see what Azalea looks like when Warmongers and Ice are not in the meta, and it is horrifying. She just does this every turn. But you can see what I meant at the start of this video, where Azalea played multiple Red Ledgers this game, and that really just took away our chance of winning. If we can throw even one more attack into any of those turns, Azalea is at 2 when she wins this game. Getting an extra 6 damage at some point over this game takes cards out of her hand. Maybe she can't put this kill turn together, or maybe she would have just been dead earlier. This matchup is really dependent on what Azalea can do to us, but it's also dependent on drawing well on our side, on smart play, and I really do think that going first in this game would have really worked well in our favor. If nothing else, we saw that Azalea had 4 2 blocks, so even if our turn is just Bare Fangs for 8, we are getting her entire hand, which includes a Codex, and she does not get to set up a 5-card hand for her next turn. So I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you learned something. If so, be sure to assault and batter that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback. Again, if you have not already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It's free, it helps me out, but no matter what you do, catch me back here tomorrow for more daily FaB gameplay. And until then, take care.